I'm here this evening with Britta from Vita Serena. Could you tell everybody a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, I'd love to. Anyway, thanks for being here. I'm a naturopath, kinesiologist and energy healer. Very simply translated, it's a holistic treatment. So I focus on helping people to release stuff from their inner child traumas. I work with people who suffer chronic or acute pain anywhere in their body. I treat pretty much anything, so from fibromyalgia, suicide, mental health, PTSD to cancer. I've been doing this for 26 years, and I also practice sound healing, acupuncture, work with crystals, homeopathy, written 2 books. I've got aura cards, I do aura readings, I read people, so I combine medical background with the ability to dive into your energy, and that helps me to detect the root cause very quickly when there is an ailment, and I help people to release, let's just call them low vibrational things out of their body for good. So when they come for a healing session, whatever it is, I'm able to remove it. It's also including a bit of shamanic healing concepts, and we just pull away a low vibration and replace it with a higher vibration, very simply put. And so that is a lot of different tools that I've acquired over my years, which is with the psychic ability, the acupuncture, the crystals, whatever I feel the person requires on the day of treatment, that's what they will receive. So it's always a very bespoke individual treatment. The initial treatment, when people come to see me, is 2 hours. And I've got great success stories in regards to shrinking, making tumours disappear, and healing people from fibromyalgia, and very bad, intense conditions, also emotionally, when people are very depressed, addictions, pretty much anything. My youngest client was 5, and the oldest is around about 85, so it's quite a spectrum. I also have done animal healing, and yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
That's a lot.
It is a lot, yeah.
That is a lot.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely live and breathe what I do, and to witness someone walking through the door, really burdened by stuff they've accumulated in their body, whether that's the pain, whether it's disease, whatever it is, and they leave my space after 2 hours. Everyone leaves with saying, I feel lighter, taller, I feel so different, I can't put words, but their life transforms because they're now a new vibration. To witness that, which I've been able to do, I can't actually even verbally express how fulfilling that is. No money in the world can pay you this feeling that you get. I can only speak for myself. When I witness people's lives transform from pain to peace, that's something that I absolutely live and breathe for, and I'm addicted to it myself.
I'm not surprised. It sounds incredible. Sounds incredible. I mean, sitting here listening to you talk, and we've been here for quite a while now, and you are probably the most fascinating person I think I've ever met.
Yeah, I can vouch for that.
Yeah, I could just listen to you talk all day. But going back to kind of like your healing, with the reducing tumours and things like that, how would that work?
So I can give you an example. Now, have you seen the film Avatar?
Yeah.
Right. So do you remember that they plugged in with their tail into Mother Earth, and you could almost hear words? Yeah. So without making people freak out, with my right hand, I can have when I touch the body, I get images, feelings, recordings of scenes. I can hear the body speaking to me, whether that's the cells, whether that's frequency. It just works. And when I'm scanning a body, now I'm not a scanner scanning for tumours, but what I get is a specific client who was suffering with a tumour on his adrenal gland. I pick up on the emotion that is stored in that part of the body that has manifested the tumour, And I talk to the body and I ask it questions using kinesiology or other testing techniques to find out when did this, let's just say the reason why the cancer manifested in the adrenal was low self-love, low self-esteem. Very broad spectrum there, but I ask when did this soul first feel like this? So then I do an age relevance test. We then take the body back to the time when it was 4 possibly, or 3, whatever happened that had such an impact. Imagine a comet just colliding into the body with an experience that was so traumatic that left an electrical loop going round. And over time, what the body does, and this usually takes years, it then takes years to manifest into a physical imbalance until it comes to the surface, until it comes with symptoms and emotions that we always ignore years before. So this person would have then created or recreated this sort of self-sabotaging, low self-esteem behaviour. And over time, because of all the stress and anxiety which lands in your adrenals amongst other things, it just attacked and created and has just stuck itself onto this adrenal gland. And the way to access cancer or tumours, you have to come from many different angles, not just energy healing, you need to do lots of other things as well. But my way of working with this particular person was to first locate the trauma, remove the emotional trauma, which I do using these different healing techniques that I can offer, combined with what kind of supplements they need to take, what changes they need to make in their nutrition, what they need to do when they're not with me, mindful work. I give them, whether it's affirmations, whether that's different exercises which they have to follow. Because if you're not strict with wanting to make that change, your body will automatically fall back into this vibration that you were in before, because obviously belief systems that have been with us since childhood, they're really comfortable, even if they're destructive, right? Because it's familiar. And the way to almost re-educate the body on, because we have a 4-body system, we have the mental body, emotional, physical and energy body. I redirect the body on all levels, so I have to work on every single level separately, but yet it's all interlinked. So you have to really find out what this particular frequency requires, and you have to tweak, pull, push. So I just command, in his case, I just commanded the adrenal tumour to shrink, and it doesn't have the food anymore to be feeding from that low self-esteem, because he's now learning to love himself, and he has. And so over time, it's been shrinking steadily until he went for a scan and it disappeared. And originally they thought it had moved in a different position and they couldn't locate it, but he had a second scan and they said, well, we don't know why, but it's disappeared. They don't normally disappear because adrenal tumours apparently don't disappear. And I like to be truthful and authentic, and I'm not saying obviously that the Western approach to medicine is, obviously we need surgeons, we need to be working together. What I find sad is that there's still so little knowledge about the power we all have and how amazing the body actually is in self-healing if we know what to do. And so when people come to see me, I give them advice, I teach them how to change how they feel and think about themselves, because that is key. If you do not understand who you are and you lack awareness, then it doesn't matter what other people do. If you walk away and you will continue with self-sabotage, then it doesn't matter how good the healer is. If the door is closed, you have to be willing and open-minded. But energy healing works if you believe in it or not. It is frequency work. So, you have the best example when you work with children or animals, because you can't tell them now you're going to feel lovely and relaxed, because the animal will respond immediately. So I've done so many different healing techniques on all age groups, animals, and they all respond the same way. So I know when you go in with intention and skill, you can influence tissue. It's matter. So matter can be influenced with mind, prayer, frequency, everything is a vibration, and that's what I've been fine-tuning for the last 26 years in my development.
Wow. Is that how long you've been doing this work for?
Yeah.
So what made you come into holistic therapy?
Because I was tired of people saying, that apparently my ailments that I had, it was just stress and that was it, and they wanted to just give me a few pills, and I thought, no, there's more to the body. And this was like going back into when I was age of 18, I had lots of physical symptoms because of trauma that I had experienced before, and I had no idea how that all worked. All I knew is I was terribly unwell and nobody could help me, and I ran from one German doctor to another, and they all said, "Sam, you're stressed." And so I felt, well, there's something more to us, and I'm a truth seeker, and that sparked my interest, plus a knowing that I've had since I was a child. Was always connected to the energy world. I was always connected. I sensed things and saw things that others didn't, and I was just called to. That was like my calling, and that's how it started. Which then was added when I lost my grandmother when I was 24. That sparked my journey going into mediumship, and I was so desperate to connect to her. I had no idea at the time that I was actually able to do it myself, because I just. In Germany at the time, if you would have mentioned anything was psychic, they probably would have thought you need to be, put in a psychiatric ward, and so you don't talk about this sort of stuff. Plus, if you're the only one who's got it, you can't share your experiences. You think yourself you're a bit nuts, and I'm actually quite grounded. So in that journey, I then discovered things that were very much in the unseen realms, and that opened another huge portal of opportunity and lots of things that I wanted to integrate into my work, but I didn't quite know how at the time, so that's taken all those years to integrate everything. And I would really say that with what I've experienced, experience is something that gives you a real deep sense of confidence, and I know what I do works. I know what I've achieved for people. There's hundreds and hundreds of people whose lives I was lucky to support, touch, change, and that for me, when I go to bed at night, is the best feeling. It's just true fulfillment for me, and something I can never tire of doing. As I said, I'm quite addicted to what I do.
Yeah, I can imagine.
When we walked in, and it seems like hours ago now, but you said that you can, just by looking at people, you can see the aura and the colours and that kind of thing. Do certain people give off different colours, and what do those colours represent?
So the aura, the colours that I see, is the colour that people express in their emotional field and their mental field. So we have several layers, but I focus on those ones that are quite closely around the body that do change. We have what's called a soul colour, that's sort of your core colour, and then you've got colours that change accordingly to what's coming in or out of your life, your energy, things that are telling me a little bit about your physical state of the body, the vitality level, your attributes, your tendencies, what's happening. And sometimes I see items floating around when people move. Sometimes I've seen chairs flying around and cupboards at the top of the head when someone says, "Oh yeah, I'm just moving." Sometimes they come with images. The colours represent different aspects of this person. So if, for example, I see people who have yellow above the crown chakra, then they're usually quite bright, inquisitive people who like to be in leadership, who have leadership qualities, who are very inquisitive, who read lots of books, who really feed on knowledge and that sort of thing. And when I move around the body, usually I'll start at the top and then move around the left side of the body, and I come around and I finish off on that side, because it's telling me a lot of what the person is moving away from and what's coming into their reality. And everybody has a unique cocktail of those colours. Obviously, when I spot colours like brown, black and red, I know that there's an aspect of inflammation, grief, sorrow, or something is going on that's really a low vibration that's causing You know, I need to look into why is that, what's going on there. And sometimes it's just when the person's been frustrated, feeling frustrated or angry about something. And sometimes it can give me indication about an inflammation. The body gives me different layers of, so if I would look into your intestine and I see a bit of brown, then I see, okay, it's a bit slow, a bit sluggish, and you know, you may want to eat less bread. It's just, it really gives me a lot of information about the person, and everybody's unique, you know, everybody has a unique flow of colours. And of course, we have core colours, so the heart, for me, is always green. So when someone has got a lot of green in their energy, then it tells me they're going through self-awareness expansion currently. We're all, at the moment, moving from what's called the head space into heart space as a collective consciousness, which means is that we're releasing a lot of ego, which is really tough, because obviously the ego loves to stay with us. It's there for a reason, but it's really solid. And to have an ego death can sometimes create feelings of, you know, we're losing ourselves, because it's something that's who I am, and if that's going, I feel like I've lost myself, and it's a tricky time. So that can create a lot of colours that help me when I see them, to help the person say, look, you're okay, this is what's happening. And it can bring people such profound calm and understanding and validation of what they were feeling. And I think people sometimes just need a bit of validation and a confidence boost, because people have been conditioned to not believe and trust themselves anymore, you know, because everything is apparently outside of you, but it's not, it's inside of you. And I like to be truthful and honest, and just like to give people insight also into that magical side, because it's quite magical if you think about it. Being able to see colour, and you know, not just in a movie but in reality, whatever that is.
When you first started doing this, then was that what was your emotions? How was you feeling when you first realised that you could see these colours, and especially when you said about if people got chairs and things moving and seeing the actual images? Surely it must be quite daunting, and a bit.
It is daunting, and initially I thought I'm going crazy. I thought it was probably because I'm overworked or something, you know, and that's when I sort of wanted to educate myself in a serious psychic college, and luckily in England there are these things available, and I wanted to broaden and find out, what does that mean, what does this mean, but they were actually not really able to help me. It's a very individual journey, it seems, and I discovered over the years what it means for me, and by the feedback that I received and the results I achieved, I knew what I was seeing is right for me, because there's different ways of seeing and interpreting things. Just because I see it like this doesn't mean it's wrong if somebody else sees something different, because we all have a different way of tuning with all different frequencies, so we absorb and channel information in a unique way. But for me, that's how I see it. And once I felt, I mean, initially when I see certain things, I was thinking twice, should I actually say this to my client, what I'm seeing or not? But an old case study that I had, my first client in Germany, where I was scanning her face with my hands, and I kept seeing through my third eye like a broken off screw in her jaw. And I said, have you had an implant? And she said, yes, I've had an implant a few months ago. And she had terrible inflammation. She was really dizzy. She didn't know what was going on. And I said, please go back to your dentist. There's something that's not right. I saw something that was broken off that shouldn't be there. And her dentist, who she'd been with for 21 years, said, no, it's all rubbish, I'm a quack, apparently. And I said, please go somewhere else, have new x-rays. And it was exactly as I said. And because of a broken off implant that they just left, they knew about this. It created a plum-sized inflammation, had eaten away on her bone. All the inflammation had gone to her heart valves, and she was suffering palpitations. She was quite poorly, she was an elderly lady. And so I said, well, let's take him to court, shall we? And so it took about 2.5 years, but we won the case. And that was the first history in my story of me trusting my abilities, reading and getting information. And it's such a fine line. And there were many years where I thought, should I say it? Shouldn't I say it? Because you have to be sure, but how can you be? Because what you're getting is an image from someone's body. What do I know if that's true or not? But over time, obviously, and this is in the beginning years, I was really struggling with learning to trust what I was receiving was real. But I did, because this little voice kept saying, say it, don't overthink it, don't doubt it. And I was going, oh my God. I said to my clients, you're going to think I'm mad, but... And they all said, oh no, funny, you should say that. And it just developed over years. It's been something that's been developing over years, but obviously, nowadays it's something I just know, I breathe it, and it's there. There's no question, there's no doubt, because it is. If I don't see it, I will also say I can't see it, but I do, and then I say this is what I see.
I guess with that implant situation, you can't provide hard evidence. Or can you, like a photograph or something that says, actually, look, I've seen it, here it is in a photo.
Yeah.
It's literally based on what you've seen when you're having a session with
unless I say
client.
to them, please go to your doctor, get a scan, then you can have it there and then.
Yeah.
And it's been really great, because recently, obviously, with the latest results, when the cancer and the cysts or something else disappear, we have, the evidence that it's physically no longer there, which is lovely. It's just a lovely validation. And for them as much as for myself. But yeah, that's pretty much.
So pre 26 years ago then, what is it you were doing that was causing you to be stressful and getting you to ask questions about why you were being so stressed? What job did you do?
I think that I had I was sexually abused when I was 11. I had a lot of bullying, trauma, difficult family background. My dad was an alcoholic, functioning, I believe. Otherwise, he was busy working as well. And I went through a lot of various, I would say, trauma that manifested in a huge level of anxiety at a very young age, and I was really struggling with physical symptoms to the degree that I thought I was having a heart attack, and very intense symptoms. I was extremely depressed, I was suffering body dysmorphia. I mean, it was like hardcore, and no one understood, no one was there to help, no one got anything, and I just knew deep down that there was much more to symptoms. There's a story, there's a solution there's a truth there must be. And something that was just telling me, find out this, do this, and eventually to be able to do anything that I wanted to do myself, you have to go through medical. So I had to first do loads of other things before I was actually accepted into this medical university, an intensive university for naturopaths, etc. That was the whole story in itself, how to even get there. And then you really push through intensive stuff for about 2.5 years, what normally would take 4 years, and I can't tell you. So it's I've really wanted to have all the foundation inside out, whether I can see the organs or not, but I wanted to also have all the medical background beforehand. For me personally, perfectionist, but yeah, that sort of started my journey off my own trauma.
So when so 26 years previous, when you had all these kind of stress issues and you were asking for help and you realised what you could do and you wanted to research more into it, what was your day job then? Did you have a day job, and before you transitioned into doing this?
Yeah, so my day job at the time was very much connected to what my father was doing. He was a lithographer, and because I also like to paint, I'm an artist, and he said, oh, that would be the ideal thing for you, because when I was living in England at the time, and he said, you must come to Germany, you must become a lithographer. So that's when I started learning to become a lithographer. That took about 3 years apprenticeship, and then you then start. So I was doing that for 7.5 years, and that very much works on with film. So you have 4 films, different colours, cyan, magenta, yellow and black, and you work hovering literally above a table where the light comes from underneath, and you have to use a scalpel. Everything is really rushed with time, because you have clients that want something in their catalogue, and they say, right, that white in your eye isn't blue, it's too yellow. You need to reduce the dots of the yellow in the eye white. And so you have to cut tiny little masks. It's very creative, artistic, but it's very relentless, and it made me very unwell, and I wasn't very happy there. And but that's what I did as a day job at the time, before
That sounds super stressful.
It was super stressful, and nobody was actually ever happy. You know, when you just had a moment of, I feel good about what I've just done, they had another new pile of things, and it was just, you know, this.
Constantly,
I
always
just
something to do.
felt that I wasn't cut for that kind of life. I felt I'm in the wrong place here. I'm just not in the right place. I like working with people, but I'm quite happy working for myself. I'm definitely someone who likes to be in control of myself and have my own business. And I just felt that I'm more of a leader rather than I'm not saying that I wasn't a follower or cannot be, but when it comes to business, I just thought, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go into.
So was it difficult setting up doing what you do on your own? Because I think maybe 26 years ago, holistic therapy I don't think was as widely recognised as it is now.
Not at all, actually. Not at all. And it was very hard. And I can only say that I had a lot of drive. I was very determined, very rebellious. So if anybody said to me, well, a woman hasn't passed the naturopathy exam, I said, okay, well, I will then. And I would have made that my fuel, no matter what, at all cost. I would have just done it to prove it to initially them, but obviously to myself. And I'm very driven, I'm very focused. So I believe that when you have an inkling, when you feel something that you're drawn to do, you have to understand that it takes a lot of blood, sweat and tears, a lot of work, persistence, discipline. And that's what you need. But then when you do something from the heart, everything starts to fall into place. You meet the right people, you're in the right place, you suddenly find a paper to do another course that might help you. It's lots of little parts that come together like a puzzle piece. And when you flow, when you surrender into, okay, I'm going to give it a go. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's relentless. And many times you sit there, oh my God, what am I doing? But then the next day or the day after, you go, that's why I'm doing it, and it's just the combination between that drive, discipline and persistence, plus this feeling of, this is what I'm doing. I'm here on this, and I'll just keep on going. And that's how I did it at the beginning. I just wanted to pass that exam. I wanted to learn about kinesiology. I wanted to have all the foundations that were required for a proper therapist. I'm not knocking anyone, but I've done a weekend course and questals now. I'm a healer. I would like to be someone who's a little bit more foundation, like really knows what they're doing before they let loose on humans. I'm very
before they let you loose on humans.
I've got such a, I just want to do good, and I want them to come away from here with a unique experience, and I want them to have a transformation, and I can't achieve that if I don't know the body inside out. And for that I had to do a lot of years of development, which I understood on a higher level, but I was thinking a lot of the time, oh my God, my brain was going to explode. I mean, all the anatomy, physiology in Germany in Latin, you had to learn it all in Latin, all the veins and arteries, pathology, you name it. It was hardcore, and it was that's what I did in the evening after coming home from work. And my brain at the beginning, there's so much information you have to squeeze in until your brain gets used to it. You go through, and my brain was hurting, if that's even possible. It felt like it was swelling. And it took about 8 weeks, and they gave you B15 or something in that time, just so your brain could compensate. It was well known that people were experiencing all kinds of weird, and I was thinking, oh my God, what am I doing here? But it was fascinating. I absolutely really sucked in all the information. I love Latin, and I loved everything about the body. I've learned so much about the body is such a miracle. If you just look into the organs, every single organ which you have to learn, I absorbed everything because I was fascinated by just how clever the body is designed. Just on the physical, forget about the energy, everything else, it's just unbelievable. And I found it absolutely fascinating. And then I wanted to know, well, what do I do? How do I recognize when something is not working right? And then which techniques can I apply to access that? How can I access that and then pull it out? How can I change that? And that's when Later on, kinesiology came in when I came to England, and as I said before, the psychology, etc., all these different things where I felt, no, I need to do that. I need to do sound healing. Sound healing is a huge thing. I've done that for 10 years. Gong therapy, again, that's a thing in itself. These are pure...
So gong therapy?
Yeah, gong
as
sound
in
therapy.
gong, G-O-N-G?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the gong works on a concept of entrainment. So it's a frequency that forces its frequency into your system. So any lower vibration gets blown away, so to say, and you're left vibrating with this really high vibration. And what happens is that your brain is automatically catapulted in a state of theta, which is a deep meditative state. Your nervous system is in a state of deep relaxation, which means that everything can work better. You've got more oxygen flying around, your organs are happy, your mind-body system becomes balanced, the senses are heightened, you can balance out weight imbalances, depression. I mean, it's phenomenal. I've got a long bit of information on my website about gong therapy and sound healing. It's really profound what you can achieve, because with sound you don't have to have any verbal communication. You override the mental body, you go straight into the cells. So when people come and I find, okay, they need in addition a bit of this and a bit of that, because we need to really create that shift in their mind-body system, then I add the sound into it as well. I have sound pretty much in every session anyway, because I want to support the chakras that get blocked a lot with, the global changes, their personal changes, and they're just little things you can do, just so effortless that the body laps it all up, drinks it all in, and then it's going, oh, right, so now this is feeling good, now I'm feeling good. And that's what you want to create, to recalibrate mind and body with all these different tools. So it's been worth the long journey, sweat and tears, and I'm so delighted though to be sitting here now at the other side saying, do you know what, I feel really, really content with the amount of knowledge I have. Of course, you always learn new things, but I'm quite happy with the knowledge I have right now that I can apply to help and support people who come and seek me for help,
So how did you advertise back then? Was it leaflets? Was it... Because I was thinking 26 years ago, was there even internet 26 years ago?
Actually, I didn't advertise. It was word of mouth to begin with. Yeah. Always, predominantly, my business was word of mouth. And I did have flyers, and I did have business cards. Then eventually, when the internet came up, now you have to have a website. Oh my God, I have to have a website. So that sort of started years and years ago. And then obviously then Facebook became popular and all these things. And then you have to do this and you have to do that. So you sort of gradually fall forward from one stage to another. And you then, if you're lucky, get help. I didn't have much help at the time. I was looking for people, whether it was marketing or... I never found the right people. PR, I've had PR that was okay, and I've had PR that were actually taking a lot of money and didn't do anything, under the sort of, in a way, excuse, I would say, to say, oh, well, we can't guarantee, it's all a little bit sort of hit and miss, but, it's just, so you have to be prepared to throw money at, PR is needed, but if you haven't got the fundings, if you're starting off with your own business, you have to just try nowadays to do a lot with Instagram, with TikTok, with all the stuff that we're now aware of. But at the time when I started, I just had leaflets and flyers and word of mouth, and everyone who walked out here said, oh, great, so they told so and so, and just, that was my saviour, word of mouth. And my results.
I think with technology as well, the way things are going, you've either got to evolve with the technology, as I've recently found when we've been doing this podcast about, I must mention again, TikTok's a bane of my life, but TikTok on YouTube and all the things that that are out there that are, once you get into it, are fairly simple to navigate. It's just finding time to do those things, and if they're hitting the right demographic for you and what service you provide or product you sell, really.
Yeah, I think the problem is if you're a one-man band like I am, you know, I create my posts every day. You have to create content. I do my own videos. That's before I've even answered my clients or patients' emails. Then I have to see people in person. Then I have to. It's like you're pushed into doing 6 different jobs, even though you would like to focus on 1 or 2 of those things, but you can't because you're the only person who can make your own content.
Yeah.
Even if you've got someone who says who can edit it for you, that's the problem. You have to make extra time, and it just eats away at your life quality that you would like to then, after you've done it, I would have liked to maybe go for a walk. Oh, I've missed it. You know, I've had to do this. And you just have to, over time, find a way to balance things out, which it does over time, but you have to be ever so patient and you know, persevere. It is hard, but it's, for me, you know, I do enjoy doing my content, but you know, I think on my Britta Soul Healing, I've got 1,800 posts I've done. So that says it all. That's daily.
But as well, you've got more than one string to your bow, right? You do so many various things based around the whole holistic healing. So it's thinking about what am I going to put out, what content am I going to talk about this week, or am I going to do a certain theme for this week or this month or whatever. And I mean, you must have hundreds of ideas, but it's actually getting it down and strategizing what you're going to do, right? And even that in itself takes time, doesn't it, to work out how you're going to do it and what you're going to put out there.
Exactly. How to sometimes, you know, put a summary together, what you want to say in like, well, you've got a minute, put that, you know, and put that into a video. Okay. And you have to sort of get used to that. And over time I have got used to it. And I've always kept a sort of theme with my Instagram because I want people to become aware, and I just like to motivate. So it's all about positive mindset, giving a little ideas and support to help people feel better about themselves. That's my motto on that one. But then I've also do the readings, they're separate. And so, you know, I've just discovered that sometimes you've got to keep those things separate because not everybody's into it, and that's absolutely fine. But it's a part of something that I've done for a long time, and I don't want to suppress that. Why should I? There's a lot of need for it out there, and there's a lot of comfort that can come from readings if they're done by someone who's authentic. As I've experienced for myself, when I've gone and had a reading with someone that's given me profound validation of what I was already feeling. So for someone that can be the healing they need, but it doesn't actually blend well with my other Instagram. So you just have to, when you're on your journey, you will be, I think, automatically guided onto the path and doing it in the way, using the media that we now have to use, because that is what it is nowadays. The magazines no longer, people are not flicking through the magazine anymore. I mean, once upon a time I was in the Essex Life magazine. I was really proud and had lots of lovely clients from it, but that was the last time I think I was in a whole page where people were still buying magazines. I mean, that's just really not happening anymore.
No, you've got to be on a 20-second video that's people just going to skip past YouTube, on TikTok or whatever else.
TikTok, etc., and that is what people flick through. That's the magazine.
But I think with that, they're not understanding the true person and what the person's message they're trying to get across, or what product they're trying to sell. You know, I'm not trying to sell. Sell is probably the wrong terminology, but it's difficult to build up a following of people who, unless they're going to delve into more of your website based on a few 20-second clips they've seen of you, it's very, very difficult.
Do you know, I think even though it's all digital, I still believe that when you see, and this is, I can only speak for myself, it's the energy you're picking up from the person that is sitting there doing the post, I find. And even though it's done through using this media, you still feel energy. That's what I find fascinating, and it's the energy that draws you in and go, oh, I like something about the person's authentic, or I resonate with that, let me look into that. It may not even be the direct post, it's something that you see in their eyes, something you hear in their voice, something that go, oh, I like that made me feel calm, or that made me feel, I don't know, inspired. And I found that when I've listened to people's posts, various different opinions and their take on a story, I find fascinating. If it's authentic, I like it because I like authenticity. You know, other people maybe just look for people who only resonate on their level and won't accept. But I think it's such a spectrum of colours and people out there nowadays. It's quite intriguing and fun also, you know, the playful side. There's a lot of funny things as well, which are you can get absorbed into. You just have to be mindful not to.
Like cat videos. And
Yes,
yeah.
hilarious. I'm the same. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, me too. I
Yes,
love
but
it.
you know, before you know it, it's going another 10-15 minutes.
10? It's good, you're doing well for 10 minutes. Yeah.
Honestly, but yeah, they do make me laugh. I watch some every day. It's
Yeah.
like a little bit of, you know, it's just light-hearted. You need a little bit of light-hearted, silly stuff, don't you? And that's the magazine that's available. So in the olden days, it was like flicking through a magazine. And now we flick through TikTok or
Cat
Instagram
videos.
or cat videos. Absolutely.
So you've got 20, 25, 26 years under your belt doing this. What do you see for the next 3 to 5 years for you? Do you have a plan?
Well, I wrote 2 books. I've got my own aura cards. I've developed a healing technique. I've just finished recently a little, what I would call a booklet regarding, now this is going to be really interesting. It's called the Youth Code. I'm going to change that into Eternal Youth Code because I didn't realise the Youth Code was already taken. I was going to try and patent it, but apparently I think L'Oreal already has the name or something, which I didn't realise. And so it's all about internal dialogue into programming your body, not to age, but to age differently. Now, a lot of people who meet me always say, how old are you, how old are you? Because obviously people need to know. I don't know why they need to be fixated on a number. And so when I tell them my number, they usually kind of either faint or they sort of go, oh really? And what did you do? And then I tell them what I've done and what I do and how I talk to my cells and the commands that I give, plus a few facial exercises and techniques, massage and all this sort of stuff. And that's another new thing that I've just started, but it all ties in with how you think and feel. So it's a little bit more in depth. So that's what I'm moving forward with. I'm going to
L'Oreal couldn't sell that, or Olivula, whoever it was, they could never sell that.
So you see, and this is what I'm doing. I'm going to create, go a little bit on tour. So I'm going to help women or men or both learn a bit more about their face, how to, where we store which emotions and the micro expression in the face, how to release it, breath techniques, beauty techniques, all in one. It's pretty much all in one.
I would definitely be.
Yeah.
You don't need it.
No.
You don't.
No, you're right, she doesn't, no.
You absolutely don't
No,
need
I
it.
do get that a lot though. When people ask me my age and I tell them, they're like, no, you're not.
Yeah. So it's all about vibration, and it's all about how I personally have communicated with my body, because with the, I would say, experiences that I've had physically, or let's just go past trauma, I would look a lot different. And I was always surprised when I got up the next morning thinking, I'm really grateful it's not showing. But normally, if I would draw a picture of myself, what I should look like according to what I've experienced, they're really different. Really different.
Yeah.
I would look like an old witch of 150, really wrinkly, and it's really interesting because the healing work must have an impact on the cells separately, but also the internal coding. If I tell myself I'm fixing a certain age into my cells, and that is going from head to toe. I've got all the tests, tissue tests, body tests that validate that age that I've settled in. So I know it's worked. And that's where I'm staying. So I choose to age into what I want to age into, and I will do that as long as I can, because I think that's good. If you're peaking somewhere emotionally, why not keep it physically and outwardly as well as you do inwardly? Why not? And
I love that.
so that's what I'm moving forward with, as well as doing sound healing, readings, and just going to the public eye really to help people understand this is the power you have. Epigenetics, you create what's going on inside. And I'm not saying to people, aging is wrong, and none of us can prevent to die and to age, but it's how we age. You can age, but it doesn't mean that your muscle has to be detached prematurely from your connective tissue because you don't know how to feed your body or exercise or how to talk to your body. If I would constantly tell myself I don't know, fat or something, the body starts to respond. Yeah. So as I said earlier, it's the frequency of your thoughts that are being absorbed by the cells, and the hormone centers respond accordingly. And I'm just telling myself I'm 39, and that's how I've been for the last, I don't really know, probably 30
I thought you was 34.
I am really.
It's been absolutely fascinating speaking with you, and we really appreciate your time here. Before we wrap this up, have you got any kind of tips and advice and insights maybe you could give to people who are looking to start up a business or want to think of how to run a business and what they should be considering before they either take that step, or if they're a few months into it, or whatever that they can take away?
Yeah, the advice that I give to people who come and see me, the first thing I say is be fearless. Trust yourself, believe in yourself, and follow your heart. And I know that makes people think, really, is that it? But without that, when you do that, when you feel that, nothing can go wrong really, because why would you start something if you're not passionate about it? If you're passionate about it, there's a reason, you're already energetically connected. So, just the fear of failing, fear of being seen, being heard, don't procrastinate. Do not be fearful. Fear is really the worst illusion that we can be trapped by, held hostage by. So I've overcome loads of fears in my 26 years, and it's really pushed me to the, and every time I faced a fear, I was going, why didn't I do that before, and it's an amazing feeling when you do that. And then the more you do it, you realize just how powerful it is to face your fears. So, don't be scared when you start, I'm not going to have money, I'm not going to have enough clients. Everything is coming to you. You just need to trust. You need to be sharp. You need to be hardworking, obviously. You need to put your time into it. But if you are enjoying and you're passionate about it, everything falls into place. Because as I said before, we live in a yes universe. It's all about frequency. The vibration you're emanating with the passion you have for whatever it is you desire to do will be mirrored back to you by contacts, people, events, things that move you forward where you have to be. And that is what I have to say to that.
Brilliant. And very, very finally, how can people find you and get in touch with you?
So people can find me on my website, which is vitaserena.co.uk.
Could you spell that for those that...
VITASERENA.co.uk.
Perfect.
Or they can text me on my mobile, which is the 079 002 11088.
Perfect. Britta, it's been brilliant. Thank you very much.
It's been a real pleasure meeting you guys as well.
Sorry, you were saying about you knowing how to when you can heal someone, your friend.
Yes, so he came to me with having a tumour on his adrenal gland, and he was extremely unwell, and he's a very down-to-earth guy, really lovely guy, but really stressed, and he'd accumulated a lot of stuff that I could obviously see with the ability that I have, and I said, let me just try and help you and see what happens, and then when you go for a scan you'll find out. So long story short, it was 6 months, and then he had to go for a scan because he had a date for his op, or they were trying to work something out, and the guy couldn't find it and said, it must have moved down. And I already knew it had been shrinking the whole time because the symptoms were less, etc. And so they had to arrange a second viewing, so to say, a second scan, which then revealed, it's disappeared, and they couldn't explain why. They didn't know why. They weren't that happy that it happened, because so far most of the cases when let's just say the NHS, or let's just say the Western concept of anatomy physiology is faced with energy work, they still try and poo-poo it and not work together. They like to, rather put poison into people,
Yeah.
rather than reminding people that we have incredible self-healing powers, and what it actually takes to heal a body is more than just a few affirmations, obviously. But he's been cancer-free now for a while, so that's one
Right.
of the sort of cancer success stories I've had more recently. But there are a few more, and I've just got any kind of, whatever it is, chronic pain or acute pain, mental health aspects, PTSD, you name it, any age group, any walk of life. I treat pretty much anything and everything
That's
that
cool.
feels stuck or in pain or physically, emotionally, and yeah, I love to inspire people and remind them that they own incredible self-healing powers that they can access by mind, by thought, by knowing how to think, what to do, and how to access their body, to reconnect with their body, which obviously we've been conditioned to believe that we're separate. We've been conditioned to believe that, oh, this is just a body, bones, muscle, we grow, we become older and we die, that's it. They forget the whole universe of other frequency. We're all energy, everything is energy based on frequency, and every thought that we think has a signature vibration. Everything that we experience creates a vibration in the mind-body system. So the brain doesn't actually hear the word, what it hears is the frequency, and then therefore if you have a low vibrational thought, as in, oh, I don't like myself, I'm too fat, too this, too that, not good enough, it almost stimulates specific hormone centers in the brain. Usually it's releasing cortisol because it's fight, flight, it's stress, the body is anxious, and therefore over time, when we keep thinking low vibrational thoughts, we are creating dis-ease and imbalance because it doesn't stimulate enough DNA, it doesn't support the functioning of the organs. The organs need a certain vibration to function in a vital form. Plus, obviously, we need exercise, we need healthy food, high vibrational food, which is another tricky subject. And it's this whole orchestra of just trying to give people the best tools so that they can manage and learn how to connect to themselves, to self-heal, how to move through life with more awareness, with a better awareness for what they need to eat, how they need to exercise, everything in balance, not to become a gym bunny, to go crazy. Also not to, we are allowed to eat mixed foods as well. There's low vibrational foods we also will survive, and the body quite likes that sometimes. We have to understand the body from a complete different, or look at it through different eyes to understand just how phenomenally magical and powerful it is in its healing abilities. And that's what I like to remind people of, and that's what I also treat or give people as, let's say a bit of teaching when they come to see me for treatments.